Today we're going to be taking you on a whirlwind tour of Venice in winter. This was the final stop of our travels in Italy and our first time visiting the famed floating city. Yes, we may have arrived during the coldest time of year, but we grabbed whatever mismatched layers we had and hit the ground running. So join us as we share with you some of the best things to see, do, and eat in Venice. Well, hello there from Venice, Italy. We have made it.
Can you see our breath?
Anyways, it is winter.
Yeah, it sure is winter, and we're dealing with a weather system that just came in called Beast from the East.
Sounds scary.
My goodness, it's been cold. We had -12, which included wind chill this morning.
Yes.
And so we are bundled up in our finest that we brought along on this winter trip.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, given the weather, we're still going to try to go out and explore as much as we can of Venice, and this is going to be our little mini travel guide.
I have to say, one of our favorite things to do in the city is to just walk down the little back lanes. Half the time, we don't even know where we're going. But I mean, this is a really fun city to get lost in. What do you think?
Oh yeah, for sure. This is one of the narrowest ones we've walked down as well.
So we are now on a quest to reach the Rialto bridge. We kind of know we're in the vicinity of it, but there's quite a bit of backtracking in the city because you get a lot of dead ends. But I know we're close.
I've already come up with a favorite activity, like hands down.
And what
it's
is
just getting lost.
Getting lost.
Because it happens so often that if you don't have a good attitude about it, you're not going to enjoy being here.
Yeah.
I think part of the charm of Venice is just going down these little alleys and like seeing where they lead.
All right. Next stop.
We're outside, just standing beneath the Rialto Bridge.
Yeah.
And what I can tell you about this bridge is that it's the oldest bridge here in Venice.
Yes.
Also, there's a lot of shopping you can do on the bridge. The bridge is really wide. There's a lot of shops.
Yeah.
Kind of almost like a little mini arcade, like right down the middle of it.
Yeah, and this is one of 4 bridges that crosses over the Grand Canal. You don't have very many crossing points, but this is one of them.
This is one of them.
Next up, let's talk about transportation in Venice. Aside from ambling through the city and getting to experience its maze-like layout, another efficient and scenic way to get around is by boat. The Vaporetto is Venice's very own water bus service, and though the fare is pricey, it's worth doing at least once during your stay. To give you an idea, the standard ticket is €750 and valid for 60 minutes, the one-day pass is €20 and valid for 24 hours, and well, the prices only go up from there. And now let's head over to what may be the most visited attraction in Venice, Piazza San Marco. There's quite a bit to see and do around the square, but let's begin with St. Mark's Basilica, named so as it's believed to house the relics of Mark the Evangelist. No videos or photography are allowed inside, but admission is free if you're willing to brave the long lines.
Then directly across from the Basilica you have St. Mark's Campanile, a tall brick bell tower which was once used by approaching ships as a beacon to guide them home. There is an elevator to whisk you all the way to the top for views of the city.
Then you have the Doge's Palace, which was the residence of the Doge of Venice, the ruler of the former Republic of Venice. The palace was built in the Venetian Gothic style, and today it's a museum that's open to tourists.
And we can't forget the Bridge of Sighs, whose name refers to the sighs of prisoners who would get their last glimpse of Venice as they were led from the interrogation rooms of the Doge's palace to their cells.
Then looking across to the other side of the Grand Canal, you have the Basilica of St. Mary of Health. This basilica was built as an offering for the city's deliverance of the plague outbreak that hit the summer of 1630, killing 1/3 of the population.
And not too far from the Basilica, you also have the Gallerie dell'Accademia in case you're in the mood for art.
Okay, so we've talked about the Vaporetto, now let's talk about gondolas and gondoliers.
And that might be the most iconic vision that most people have of Venice, is hopping on a gondola.
A romantic ride down the canal.
Romantic ride, exactly. So in terms of the price, guys, it's €80, and you could split that amongst 5 people, and that gives you 30 minutes. So the cool thing is you can be out here on the Grand Canal, and you can also go down some of the little ones as well too.
Yeah, and if you want to do it at night when it's even more romantic, that'll cost you 100 euros. Oh my gosh.
Got some cash to splash, invested on that.
Someone's happy about the snow. Hey there. Hey. Okay, let's go.
I thought I was leaving snow behind in Canada.
Oh no.
Check out how deep it is too.
Well, it's not that deep by Canadian standards.
Not but for Venice standards?
For Venice, this is quite a bit. But let's take a break from all the sightseeing to introduce you to a restaurant we really enjoyed, La Zucca, a place where all the dishes are made with pumpkin. Alright, so we are all settled in the restaurant and we've ordered 3 different pumpkin dishes to share between Sam and I. We got the flan di zucca con burro alla salvia e ricotta stagionata. So, from what I can understand, this has pumpkin and butter and some ricotta. So yeah, when we were first reading this, flan to me is a dessert, at least in Spanish it is. But apparently this is savory and it has nutmeg, they said. Yeah. And also a few different spices.
Looks
it's
really
also
good.
Dressed with cheese and these, looks like sunflower seeds.
And guess who's having that as well?
George!
Oh, yes.
Georgie boy.
How is it? You've been trying it, so how is it?
It's delicious.
It's delicious?
Yeah.
Like, how would you two describe it then?
It's so creamy.
Yes, it's creamy and great pumpkin flavor.
Yeah.
And my indie folk is playing in the background, so
there you go. You could just curl up and take a nap here, huh?
This is really good though. Out of the 2, this one's my favorite so far. Alternatively, if you prefer to cook at home, there's the Rialto market specializing in produce and fresh seafood, though it wasn't the liveliest on a snowy day.
And now let's talk about island hopping in Venice, because on one particular cold morning while Audrey stayed home, I decided to visit the nearby islands. So there are a number of different day trips you can basically take from Venice. There's a number of different islands. There's Burano, there's Murano, but we've decided to go where, Dad? Where are we today? Torcello. Yeah, and all our plan basically is just to go for a walk. Yeah. I think we're gonna pass by a cathedral church, maybe a ruin, and then also we've got a food on our mind. We might go and get a coffee and a little pastry.
And a cappuccino.
Yeah, so it's gonna be nice and relaxing. We're looking forward to it. Founded in the 5th century, Torcello is even older than Venice and was the original settlement in the Venetian lagoon. This is a very peaceful island with lots of walking paths and nature, and the main reason to visit this island is to see the Byzantine mosaics in the 7th century cathedrals of Santa Maria dell'Assunta. And from there it was a hop over to Burano. So I'm visiting Burano at the moment, and my first impressions are it's so different from Venice. It's so colorful, it's quiet, there's a little bit of nature, and yeah, I don't really have an agenda or plan. I'm just gonna go around and explore. Burano is known for its lacework and brightly colored homes. There are plenty of restaurants, cafes, and shops to browse, but my visit was short because there were a few more islands I wanted to visit. Next up, Mazzorbo. This island sits next to Burano and is connected by a bridge. It's an often overlooked island, probably because it's not as colorful, but is known for its vineyards and orchards. This is absolutely fascinating. After walking around here for a little while, I don't think I've seen another tourist. I've just seen locals out walking their dogs and lots of laundry blowing in the wind. From there, my next island was Murano, which is renowned for its glass production. Glassmaking on this island dates back to about 1291, when the glassmakers in Venice were forced to relocate by the Venetian government for fear that a fire could destroy homes and bridges which were made out of wood. guys, I decided to come over to Lido, which is actually on line number 1. So basically you leave the Grand Canal and then you arrive at this other island. And the first thing I've noticed, and this has been a shockaroo, because the last few days I haven't seen cars, and there are cars on this island. So that is my very first impression of Lido. I've got to say, guys, it is so strange seeing cars again. So what I'm noticing different about Lido so far is that there's modern architecture, and it's a little bit nondescript. Like, this could be kind of anywhere. This is an 11-kilometer sandbar island that shelters a lagoon from the Adriatic Sea. That means beaches, lots of seaside homes, and this is also where the Venice Film Festival takes place every year.
So yeah, the plan for today, we're gonna take it easy on the sightseeing. It's gonna be very light, but we are gonna get some food. We're hoping to find some Venetian dishes. Sam spotted a restaurant that he thought looked really good.
Looked really good. So, it's very close to our place, and I just noticed it after taking a ferry ride yesterday. So we're gonna go and hopefully have our lunch there.
Let's go.
It's like pure ice. Whoa. It's pure ice. It's pure ice.
Whoa, we're gonna be skating in Venice today. Another restaurant we liked in Venice is Osteria Mocenigo. This was a cozy restaurant specializing in local cuisine. The one dish that we would recommend trying is sarde in saor. This is a typical Venetian dish made with sardines with a sweet and sour sauce featuring onions, raisins, pine nuts, and spices. So these are pickled sardines in a sweet and sour sauce.
That's right.
It's typical of Venice because it was a way of preserving fish. It's been popular since the Middle Ages.
Right.
And it also has white onions, raisins, pine nuts. It's so good. I mean, this dish is half gone and I've already been sharing it around the table too. So. So good.
What's your favorite part of it?
There's a sweetness to it with the raisins and the onions.
And while your Vaporetto pass is still valid, why not go ride the canals at night and watch the floating city come to life? As always, we hope you enjoyed this Venice travel guide and that it gave you a few ideas for your own trip. If you have any other suggestions of things to do in Venice, feel free to share your suggestions with travelers in the comments below. We'll see you in the next video where we continue our Euro trip. Next up, catching the overnight ferry to Croatia for some warmer weather.